Good morning. I want to talk about two Americans, Bill Gates and Joe Biden, wonderful people. First, I want to tell you something about Sweden. I get this question a lot. How come Sweden doesn't do lockdowns? Yeah, it's a valid question. And I want to tell you why we don't have lockdowns in Sweden. Or, this is what I think, yeah? Something happened in Sweden, you see. About 10 years ago, it was one of the biggest medical scandals that we had in Sweden ever. It was the swine flu came, and there was a vaccine. And the authorities told the Swedes to take the vaccine, and many did. And then there were complications, huge complications. Hundreds of kids got narcolepsy, so they just fell asleep at any time. You know, they could just fall asleep. And I know of people who had this experience with their kids. They had the swine flu vaccine and they just fell asleep. It was a huge scandal. And the government finally had to admit that the swine flu vaccine was the cause for this. And they had to pay a lot of money to people. Hundreds of people, I'm talking hundreds. I heard the number 500 kids. I think it was more, but 500 at least. So there you go. The authorities here in Sweden, they are a bit careful with what they say. And the politicians are a bit careful as well, you see. So they don't do lockdowns here. And I think, I'm pretty sure of it, this is the basic reason for it. I don't think they are hoping for the Swedes to do the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. They will encourage it, of course they will, but they will not force people to take it here in Sweden. Yeah, it was a huge scandal. All right, so I promised you I will talk about these wonderful people, Joe Biden and Bill Gates. First, it's Joe Biden. I watched this video this morning where he's talking. He's doing a speech and he says this. It's estimated that 200 million people will die. He was he was talking about COVID. It's estimated that 200 million people will die, probably by the time I finish this talk. Yeah. At first I thought it was a joke, something wrong, but it appears to be this is what he's saying. I think he's got a problem with teleprompters. Yeah, maybe his eyesight isn't as good, you know. Maybe it's at 2000 or something. And he said 200 million. I don't know. It was just funny. I will post a link below so you can watch it if you want. There's something about teleprompters. I'm pretty sure about this. Apparently earlier this year he said that more than 120 million Americans had died of COVID-19. 120 million. How many Americans are there? 400, 300 million, I think. Yeah. And also there's another example. Back in February, he said that 150 million Americans had died of gun violence since 2007. 150 million. That would be half the US population. I think it's got a problem with texts. Yeah, reading texts. That's my theory. He's a funny guy. And he could be the next American president. All right, so, and I also promised you, Bill Gates, this wonderful man, he was interviewed again, and he was asked about the end of the epidemic. He's the man to ask, he knows everything about these things. Bill Gates. See, he ran Microsoft. That makes him the expert. So he was talking about this. Now, you have to remember this. Bill Gates invested in the vaccine. He invested in 7 different vaccines, millions of dollars. So he's heavily invested in the vaccines. Okay, so he was asked, the end of the epidemic. He says, best case is probably 2022. But during 2021, the numbers, we should be able to drive them down if we take the global approach. What does it mean? Well, it means mass vaccinations. Yeah, that's what it means. A lot of doses. And he says, so thank goodness vaccine technology was there, that the funding came up, that the companies put their best people on it. That's why I'm optimistic. This won't last indefinitely, he said. Yeah. I remember he said some time ago, when people need to take at least 2 shots, maybe 3. And somebody asked this very good question. How does he know? How does he know this? There is no vaccine yet, but still he knows they need to take at least 2 shots, possibly 3. This business, this big pharma business, this vaccine business, it's really awful, this business, yeah. Oh, absolutely. All right, be good. Bye.